My friend, I have some incredible information about the relics to share with you. Is now a good time? Then please, come have a seat and we'll talk. Ah, good. Well, where to begin? I know that I tend to expound upon things, but I'll try and be to the point for brevity's sake. If you'd like to know more about anything, just ask. Otherwise, I'll assume you know what I'm talking about. Now, I've done a good deal of research to confirm some theories, and from what I can tell, the amulet pieces and the shield both react with one another, because their connection to the covenant of Akatosh made with Alessia. The Covenant of Akatosh was a pact made by Alessia, which deemed that for so long as Alessia's line ruled, Akatosh would protect them from the perils of oblivion and bless her bloodline's rule over Cyrodiil. It is interesting because in many ways, Akatosh only came to be because of her actions. Well, the Middle Dawn was a period during the First Era that lasted 1,008 years, which was brought about by the Marukati Selective, a group within the Alessian Order that used the Staff of Eight to dance upon the tower and reshape the nature of Akatosh. By their dancing ritual, they were able to purge the elven aspects of Ariel from Akatosh and instead bind the time element of Akka to the Colovian Shazar, which was a sort of heartland version of Shor, the god of mortals. By doing so, they established Akatosh as the god of time across all time, past, present, and future, as if he had always been there, essentially breaking the concept of linear time briefly, but that resolved itself on its own. They did this in order to appeal to their Nordic allies, who would have never accepted a central deity tied so closely to the elven Ariel. Queen Alessia's soul was bound to the Amulet of Kings in the Covenant and was captured within the gem upon her death. Her soul must still be bound to the gem, even in a shattered state. The relics react to you because of your soul being directly bound to Akatosh as kin of the Dove, your own dragon soul. I believe that if we were to bring together enough relics that tie to the Covenant, we may be able to appeal to Akatosh to actually reform the amulet. Well, aside from restoring one of the most historically significant artifacts in Tamriel's history to its proper glory, the gem in the amulet served another purpose, which was to help reinforce the very nature of creation by powering the White Gold Tower. I would be very curious to know if restoring the stone would have any effect on the larger scheme of things. Now, as to the other figures involved, there is Raymond Cyrodiil, who had a rather mythological origin. The story states that his father, King Hrol, begot him in a union with the spirit of Saint Alessia upon the site of Sancre Tor, the Golden Hill. The spirit was the land itself, and Hrol placed the Chim El Abadal into the dirt, where his son was planted and then he died. Raymond was then born from the soil and bore the gem upon his forehead. Yes, that's right. Then, of course, we have Tiberius Septim, who was a dragonborn in the same way that you are, and who also carried the blood of the Alessian line. His connection to this is irrefutable, and would almost certainly resonate with the other relics in the same way. Precisely. During the Oblivion Crisis, Martin Septim gathered the blood from the armor of Tiberius Septim in a ritual to send the champion of Cyrodiil to Manca Cameron's realm of Oblivion. After Martin's sacrifice, the armor was returned to Sancre Tor and placed back in Tiberius Septim's tomb. We need a part of that armor in order to prove my theory and proceed forward with reforming the amulet. Obviously, with the borders closed and a battle raging in the Pale Pass, you would never be able to sneak into Cyrodiil. I found some interesting clues in a variety of the relics I've gathered here within the museum, and my other references. The ancient Falmer utilized a form of transportation magic, and I had a theory that their cousins, the Aliens, may well have had a similar power. So I looked into it, and I've managed to uncover an Alien Waystone, which seems to confirm my theory. I believe it may well send you to Sancre Tor. The way the stones apparently worked was that they would be worn, and that the person would be drawn to an alien site near their blood-bound kin. It was a way for royalty to quickly summon their elite guard to them who were bound in blood. I believe that your dragon blood will draw you to Septim's grave, Sancre Tor. Simply wear the amulet and you will be transported there. Hopefully. To return, simply remove it. Yes, hopefully that will be the sum of it, but of course, do be on guard. There is no telling what may be lurking there. Be well and return safely.
Pus, rota!
You're as good as dead.
Pus, rota!
I know I heard something. Anybody there?
Boost! Roger!
wayward daughter returns home. I am the voice. I am the eye. I am the breath which makes Akatosh's will known. And you are his child, Dovahkiin. You are the gatherer of the symbols of those who came before you, brought here to beseech his lordship to do thine bidding. Humility you may have, yet the full offering you do not. The blood of the mother you have in full, yet the breath of the father you have yet to fully obtain. Go forth and make whole the symbols of the offering, so that the heart too may once again be made whole.
Yes? Ah, you're back. Were you successful? Are you serious? Then Akatosh must be aware of our pursuits, and the offerings must have drawn his attention as we intended. Splendid! Truly? What did he say? Blood of the mother you have in full, yet breath of the father you have yet to fully obtain. Curious. Quite vexing. Well, the blood of the mother must pertain to Alesia, Raymond, and Tiberius Septim, so if those are the symbols in full he spoke then that means there would be 3 more symbols under the breath of the father. This is quite interesting. Well, yet to fully obtain would imply that some of the items you brought along must be symbols of shore. Oh my, this is an Imperial Royal Advisor seal with the crest of Zurin Arctus, the Underking. Zurin Arctus, Imperial Battle Mage and Advisor to Tiberius Septim, was referred to as the Underking, but the accounts are quite confusing. There are disrupting stances on who exactly the Underking was, because so far as I can tell, he was comprised of 2 souls. High King Wolfhearth was also considered to be the Underking in one of his lives, of which he had several. Wolfhearth of Atmora was a High King of Skyrim who was said to have saved Skyrim from Orkay, who summoned a shadow of Alduin to consume the entire population's age down to that of children. Of course, how much of this is truth or mythology, most will never know. Wolfhearth summoned Shor to fight Alduin, and then used a shout to restore the people of Skyrim, but it advanced his age so far that he died. Then the people of Skyrim sung forth Shor to lead an army to march upon Morrowind, and Shor raised the ashes of Wolfhearth to be the general. This is where his Ash King title came from. After that battle, he was once again slain and his ashes carried back to Skyrim by Kyne. This is where he became the Grey Storm, or the Storm of Kyne. He was summoned forth many times over the ages to exact revenge and conquest. Eventually, he rested for a time, which is where his Underking title derived. He later awakened when the Greybeard spoke a prophecy of the coming of Tiberius Septim, whom Wolfhearth would eventually come to serve as the Storm of Kyne, and was how the name Talos Stormcrown came to be. Oh, it gets even better. He's also regarded as being the tongue of Shor, or an avatar of Shor. His power with the voice was so extreme, in fact, that he never spoke. As a single word could tear down an entire mountain face, he made his many royal decrees through the written word. He was also responsible for restoring the ancient Nordic pantheon and driving away the Alessian pantheon we know today as the 8 Divines. In one of Wolfhearth's lives, he was allied with Tiberius Septim and Zurin Arctus. They betrayed him, however, and his soul was trapped within the Mantella, a massive soul gem constructed by Arctus to use as a power source for the Numidium. This trapping cost Arctus his life, however, and his soul was merged with Wolfhearth within the Mantella as an unintended consequence. Wolfhearth was bound to Tiberius Septim as Dragonborn and with the title of Ismir, and Arctus was bound by way of his soul, merging with Wolfhearth and sharing the title of Underking. So therefore, Zurin Arctus must be one of the 3 representing this Breath of the Father. The truth of divinity resides in the will of the worshipper. Most of what is true in our world is because we simply choose it to be. Divines are only such because they are believed to be, and that faith powers them. Much of what exists in the heavens is mantled or reflected here on Nirn. So a shared title does very much mantle itself to a shared connection in some way. Well, I would surmise breath to mean the voice or the Thu'um. The blood of the mother would pertain to Alessia and her blood pact with Akatosh, which means that the father... Could it possibly be... Morahouse? Sorry, let me step back. So, the herald is implying that there are representations of 6 individuals who could make the amulet whole again. 3 of these represent Akatosh, Alessia, Raymond, and Tibir Septim. The other 3 represent what I assume is Shor, Zurin Arctis, Wulfharth, and, if I am correct, Morahouse. Morahouse was, or still is, a demigod who was the husband of Alessia. His name means first breath of man, and is considered tied to Kine in that regard, and also is associated with the Thu'um, as is implicit in his name. This bonds him closely to Wulfharth, who, again amongst many other titles, was called the Breath of Kine. Well, let's not forget, Shor is the Nordic version of Lorkhan, and one telling states that the Chim El Adabal is formed from Lorkhan's blood. And in the Covenant, Akatosh filled that vessel with his own blood, so really, the Amulet of Kings seems to be a reflection of both deities. Exactly. So it seems we need to obtain something pertaining to Wulfharth, and something from Morahouse. The armor of Morahouse is one that still persists to this day, in fact, and has surfaced a number of times over the years. It is also known as the Lord's Mail. You may have noticed I have a habit of tracking down various curios and artifacts in my spare time. And as it turns out, the armor was entrusted by the Empire to the care of General Tullius. But news came down recently that it was stolen by a deserter, so you might inquire at Castle Dower as to what became of it or what leads they have. Who knows, if you find it, they may be willing to entrust it to us for safekeeping. But either way, we could certainly use it for our ends in the short term, before returning it and get a replica out of it if nothing else. As far as Wulfharth is concerned, during his reign, the capital of Skyrim was Windhelm. From what I remember, there are various dedications to the High Kings of old around the city, which chronicle their deeds and record their deaths. I would explore there and see what clues you might uncover. He also resided in the very same palace of kings that stands today. Once you have the remaining relics, you should be ready to return to Sancre Tor by way of the Ayleid Waystone and appeal to the Herald of Akatosh. If I do not see you again before then, take care of yourself. And as always, I'm here if you need me for anything.
See you around.